Today we're going to be working on half steps and whole steps. We're working through the course Celebrate Theory, that's level 1, and the half step and whole steps is from the Unit 2 section. So first of all, I'm just going to take you over to my virtual piano so we can look at what it looks like on a keyboard. So a half step is going from one note, so we'll take C, and it's going to the very next note. So that would be C sharp. Or we could go down. So we're going from the C and going backwards. The very next step would be B. So those are two examples of a half step. Let's do a few more. If I'm on an F, a half step above would be going to the F sharp. From an F, a half step below would take us to E. So in both of those cases, I've started on one of the white keys. What if I start on one of the black keys? So let's go to D sharp. If I'm moving a half step above, that would take me to E. And if I go on that D sharp again, and I want to go a half step below, that would take me to D. So those are half steps. The other thing that we need to do in this unit is learn to recognize a whole step. Now, a whole step goes to the next letter name, but it contains two half steps in it. So an example of a whole step starting on C and going above would be going to the D. So let's look at that a little more closely. I said before that a whole step has two half steps in it. So we went from C to D. But let's see where those half steps are. C to C sharp is one half step, and C sharp to D is the second half step. So let's try the trickier one. If I start on E and I need to go a whole step, I'm looking for two half steps. So E to F is one half step, F to F sharp is your second half step. So the whole step would be E going to the F sharp. Let's do one going backwards, but let's start on a sharp. I'm going to start on G sharp, and I'm going to go down the keyboard. So I'm looking for two half steps. G sharp to G is one half step. G to G flat is the second half step. So that means G sharp to F sharp is a whole step. Now, in this unit, we're writing theory, so it's not just a matter of playing it on the keyboard. We need to actually write this out. So I'm just going to share my other page here, and we'll notate some of these and see what they look like. So I'm just going to take that away from the last lesson. So if I'm on a C, and I'm looking to move a half step above, I can notate another C, but I need it to be the next half step, so I'm going to sharp that. So from C to C sharp is a half step above. If I want to go backwards from the C, and I'm looking for a half step, I would notate that C going to B, and that would be a half step below. Let's take this away, and let's try one in the bass clef. But this time I'm going to start on an F sharp, and I want to notate a half step below. So going from the F sharp, I could go to an F natural. I have to get the natural in, so I'm going to the next half step down. So there's one half step. Another way to notate that would be going from the F sharp, and if I wanted to use a different letter name, from F sharp, I could go down to an E sharp. So an E sharp is the same as F on the keyboard. So from F sharp to E sharp is a half step below. Let's look at whole steps. We'll do a few examples, remembering that we need to locate two half steps in order to make our whole step. So again, let's start on the C, and I want to go up a whole step, so I'm going to notate that as a D. C to D is a whole step. Because in the process, C to C sharp is the half step, the first one, and C sharp to D is our second half step. So C to D is a whole step. Another example, starting on E. Now, E to F would just be a half step because there's no sharp between the E and the F on the keyboard. So we have to do something to this F in order to make it bigger. So we will sharp it. So from E to the F sharp is our whole step above. If we want to go backwards, I'll just delete these. Let's start on B in the treble clef, and I want to go down a whole step. So I would notate that as A, because I would have skipped the B flat and come down to A. So there is our whole step. So in the next pages in the book, they're going to be getting you to write some samples going above and below, identifying if it's a half step or a whole step. So I hope this helped you understand the difference between the two. If you have any questions again, please let me know and be sure to subscribe to catch the rest of my series. Thanks very much.